everybody to tears. As the story goes, COVID, yada, yada, yada. The organization, it was difficult to do food service during that time. People couldn't come in. Everybody was getting a little bit older, had other things in their lives. And when I was interning with Shiloh, they were sort of looking for, like, what do we do with our nonprofit when we don't want to do this anymore? And Linda, I'm sure most of you know Linda Wood, Linda had approached Shiloh, and they had been talking about it, and it was rumblings for a long time, and it finally got executed. So now JOY sort of exists, Jonestown Outreach Pantry. They would just call it JOY for short. We exist as a umbrella under the caring cupboard, but we are one organization, but I am standalone, and I have pretty much full jurisdiction in my neck of the woods. So what's our aim there? We aim to serve, first and foremost, people who are living within Northern Lebanon School District, okay? That is the service territory. However, we will also allow people who come from Anvil, Cleona, and Palmyra. And Northern Lebanon, I'm sure, as you know, is a very interesting population in that we get a lot of people from right on the cusp of the Lebanon City that you would never think are Northern Lebanon School District, out towards Palmyra, people that basically feel like they're in Grantville. It's a very large place that we service. Now, what does that mean if you come to me and you're not from that school district? I will never leave anybody without food services. So we have shifted to giving an emergency bag of people if they come from Lebanon City. I've had people come from Tower City, Harrisburg, Reading, Lancaster. The need has been great. But just as things change, basically with federal guidelines and service territory, things I need to abide by with Big Brother, we have to also make sure that we can always give to those in the community. So we operate as a food pantry that is choice-based, which means our clients can come and they can shop based on what they would like. I don't have everything that a grocery store would have, but we have such a generous community of donors that I have a lot. We try to be sensitive to a 15 cultural food standard, onions, chicken, garlic, rice. Some of the things on them are hard for us to source all the time, which is where monetary donations are really wonderful, or things like Redner's or Walmart. We have donations that come in from there, and we get that kind of stuff. So that's sort of where we're at. We have had exponential growth. So I just want to tell you all how thankful we are for your support. So let me give you some statistics, right? Here comes the fun part, math. In 2024, I had 660 individual households that utilized us in Jonestown for our services. That was an 84% increase, bless you, from 2023. So exponential growth, yeah. In those numbers, what does that look like? That meant we had 6,074 visits that households came and shopped with us throughout the year. 32% of those were children. Children would be considered zero, little babies to 18 years. 41% were senior citizens. With quick math, that's about 14% of our clients. So those are pretty much the two biggest groups of our demographic that we're serving. I also, if you're not aware, another program that we help facilitate at the organization is called Military Share. We do that in partners with the AMVETS, which is $293. That is a once-a-month program that we do for anybody who is veteran associated, currently serving, or has in the past, with the Family Readiness Group out at the Gap. Her name is Monica Coons, and she facilitates and does the paperwork there, authenticating service and all that. We hover around 160 people a month that we're serving there too, and there is some crossover. That program, we do invite people from the county because we've noticed from the VA and just other outside service areas that there's been a need for people to fill in a gap where they get food. Another thing that has been really mind-blowing for me, I keep saying to my husband, man, I feel like I can't start the day without taking ibuprofen. Well, we had our audit for our product, for our inventory, just at the end, right at the new year. And in 2024, we took in 138,105 pounds of food. It's 69 tons of products that we have in-house. That is a 267% increase over product that we had last year. So we are getting a lot of food and giving out a lot of food. We did a pivoting away from that. Well, we were trying to figure out, are we giving people what they want? Are they getting services met? So we did sort of a check-in with our clients and gave a satisfaction survey. What would you like to see? How do you feel about our services here? We offered it in both English and Spanish, and we got such wonderful feedback from the clients that they felt as though their service there was dignified. They appreciated how warm our volunteer base was. That they never felt, turned away, and that's really important to us. So, since I came on board, we also moved to being open 3 times a week. So I'm there on a Tuesday from 10 to 12. I do Thursday, which is 4 to 7 evening hours, and then Friday we're also open 10 to 12. We will take donations at any of those times. We mainly make Tuesday our dedicated, like if you're coming with a lot of stuff that people bring in, but you could come whenever. That has really, I think, opened a lot of doors for people to keep their houses stocked and maybe free up income from where you would be spending it on groceries. It gives you a little bit more money to keep the heat on, to pay your electric bill, because the gap in services is not so large. And we're finding that our families are utilizing us on average about 2 times a month. It's a slightly lower number, but what does 1.84% mean? So about two times a month. Historically, when we had first came back online in 2021, we were open every other week, so we have moved to that model, and I think it's been about a year and a half now, and it's going really, really well. I also open the doors for service groups whenever there's an inquiry. Sometimes because the pantry is smaller, it's harder to facilitate larger groups, but I've always been able to make it work. I have people that have offered to come do our yard, people that help me with doing garage projects. Sometimes it's just like when a need exists, it feels like someone will show up to answer the call, and I've always been very grateful for that there. And that's about what we got going on. If you're ever interested in volunteering with us, you are certainly welcome. Our doors are always open. Of course, we exist as a food pantry, but I think we're a bit of a community center. I don't dabble in the social work aspect as much as I probably could, but I always will give people resources. So community action partnership, lie heap services, getting people connected with social workers. And having said that, one other thing we do offer at the organization is we do mobile delivery. We have about 21 people, I think, that my coworkers are currently, bless you,
thank you,
delivering to, which has been really interesting to see the growth in that. With people that have severe health issues, mobility, transportation issues. So being able to get out to people who simply can't get to us, or they can't afford the transportation, or they can't find transportation, knowing that you're going to get that is huge for people. And they call and, are you bringing our stuff? Yeah, we do. So we always check in with our people, and it's been great. That goes really, really well too. And where I can meet people on nutritional needs, diabetic or trying to watch their sodium, we certainly do that too. Our pantry is unique in that we offer fresh milk, eggs, those are staples. We give frozen meat. It's not all just canned goods. We give fresh vegetables, produce. So being partners with the Central Pennsylvania Food Bank, I'm able to source a lot of those things. I certainly will take things when people have too many tomatoes in their gardens in the summer, but that's not always the case, you know, so it's nice to be able to get stuff. And that's about it. Any questions, I'm happy to answer.
I might add that your operation hours coincide with the hours at the
Yes,
clothing closet.
that's true.
And I was thankful for your referral. The other day I had, she was an older woman, sort of my age. No.
Wow.
She came in and she goes, oh, I didn't know this place existed. I'm just so happy to be here. And she said, they told me over at the pantry that I could come.
Yeah.
So it's a good partnership, I think.
Absolutely. I'm glad you said that. So that's very important to us, you know, in our organization. Is a good way to say it is you're not reinventing the wheel, right? So a lot of social service agencies and things, they exist in silos. One doesn't know what the other's doing, and it's very hard to connect care. And sometimes we don't even know each other exists, right? Because so many times things are grassroots, volunteer-based. You can only do what you have help to do. So Clothing Closet has been really great. We have so much positive feedback. I always keep the calendars. And like you said, you know, I have a lot of crossover with volunteers that help in both locations. I know that locally in Northern Lebanon, you know, there's also Adoption Swaption.
Mm-hmm.
They're a program that if you foster or are adopting, they will give you cribs, car seats, all kinds of things. I mean, they exist to help that, ease that burden for people too. And like I said, it's always good to know what you have going on in your backyard. So even though we service Northern Lebanon, you know, it is Lebanon County. And we want to make sure that we're always working with our community partners.